Hey guys, how are you guys doing? I'm doing pretty good. It's 2026, it's a brand new year, and I'm actually really happy that I finally made it into the brand new year. 2025 was a super crazy time for me. Experienced a lot of curveballs, a lot of plot twists that I honestly wasn't expecting, and it left me feeling really lost and torn inside about what the right decision was. Was there anything I could have done differently? And it has led me to sit down, to journal a little bit, and try to make a plan for 2026, to kind of brainstorm a way to keep myself centered and on the right path for 2026, because I definitely don't want to repeat what happened last year. For some context, for some context, in 2025, I experienced 9 to 10 months of a toxic work environment. I essentially had to bring my concerns all the way up to the CEO. And once I got there, they told me that I was just having generational differences with my supervisor. The toxic work environment was a result of bullying, racial discrimination, racist remarks, inappropriate conversations, and it doesn't matter, how old you are, it doesn't matter when you were born. Those are all inappropriate behaviors to occur in a professional work environment. And so, after experiencing like 9 to 10 months of a toxic work environment, because it started in January, I left in October, um, which was, a good thing in a way, because I was able to remove myself from a toxic work environment and pivot onto a new career path. However, it was it was really rough to go through that and at the same time kind of grieve a little bit, because I really valued that job, and to me it was a dream job. So for me to have to walk away from my dream job because it became toxic was really difficult. Um, in the midst of all that, I had to walk away from a 3 year relationship. But if I am to be 100% honest, it was a situationship, basically a glorified friends with benefits. For 3 years, I chased clarity and tried to lock in the relationship, so that it was exclusive between me and my partner. But, if someone really wants to be with you, they'd be with you, and you wouldn't have to chase clarity. They would give you clarity. It took me 3 years to finally get that through my little Delulu brain, and walked away from that in May. So I had work going on, I had the relationship stuff going on. Throughout my healing journey, I was still going through toxic stuff at work because I left in October. Um, so it was just a lot. And then when I finally was ready to date again, I got catfished. So I was pretty over 2025. A lot happened. My living situation kind of became crowded in that I opened up my doors to two family members to help them out. And in doing so, I lost a little bit of inner peace. I have now two additional people to kind of work with and live with, and that's always fun. Um, but the silver lining there is that I'm in a position that I can help them, so I can't complain about it too much. However, it's just one of those things where I didn't see coming in 2025. So let's just say I'm really looking forward to this new year. I'm really looking forward to some new blessings. And I definitely don't want to carry this feeling of being lost and torn into 2026. So, in an effort to keep myself centered, keep myself on the right path, I sat down and I journaled, and I was able to identify five core pillars, five categories that I want to reference and work on throughout 2026. Um, the categories follow as self, health, work, creation, and connection. So let me get into it, right? Let me share with you guys some thoughts, some of my goals I have for 2026. So the main question I'm asking myself for the self is, who do I want to become in 2026? Who am I becoming and want to develop? And I was able to identify three sort of principles that I want to work on when it comes to the self. The first is identity, the second is mindset, and the third is emotional growth. And so for my identity, having gone through 2025, I want to show up as someone who is standing in clarity and intention for 2026. I don't want any confusion. I don't want any mixed signals, any mixed messages. I don't want there to be, any sort of doubt in the things that I'm doing. I want to be very clear about my goals, my purpose, my values, what I'm willing to accept and what I'm not willing to accept. Because again, I don't want to be lost like I was in 2025. And with that, I want to be someone who is intentional. I want to make sure that if I am doing something, if I am entertaining a relationship, if whatever it is that I'm getting up to, I want to make sure I'm intentional about it. I want to make sure that it aligns with who I want to see myself grow into this year, and make sure that it aligns with my goals that I set out in the other pillars. Because if it doesn't align with that, then I don't want any part of it. I really don't. From 2025, I learned that if I try to take on more than what I was originally planning to, things get lost. Things kind of get lost in the cracks and in the weeds. So then that leads me to the second thing within self, and that's mindset. Going into 2026, I really want to focus on having a growth mindset. And not only that, but having the humility to start something new from scratch as an actual beginner. I don't want to project an expectation that if I start something new, that I'm going to be like a professional at it. You know, there is a growing stage, a learning stage when starting something new, and it can be a very frustrating process because you just want to do the thing. You just want to get from point A to point B like that. But there's a lot of steps in between that. Um, and so I want to make sure that for 2026, I am giving myself patience, compassion, and understanding towards the goals that I want to accomplish, towards myself, and making sure that I'm not trying to rush the process. And so that kind of ties into emotional growth. I want to practice gratitude. I want to be able to value myself and know that I'm enough and to trust myself. And by trusting myself, I trust the process. I trust the unfolding of my goals. I trust the practice of being grateful for being where I'm at, where I'm heading, and everything in between. Because those learning lessons ultimately is what's going to get me to that final destination. And yeah, that's the self. That's sort of the core pillar for the remaining four pillars. Okay, so for pillar two, I have health. And the main question I'm asking myself in terms of my health is, how can I care for my body and my mind? What can I do this year to better take care of myself? And the first thing I kind of want to focus on is my physical well being. I'm someone who goes to the gym a lot, and normally my gym week is 5 days out of the week. However, back in 2025, after going through the toxic work environment and having that take a toll on my mind, and going through the breakup and from May in the following months, I kind of really lost the plot when it came to my physical well being. And looking back, I think that if I tried to channel my pain, my frustrations, my disappointment back into the gym and use the gym as a channel for those emotions, I think I would have been able to hit the gym a lot more consistently. But I didn't do that. Instead, I wallowed in a little bit of self pity. um, but yeah, it ended up kind of affecting my gym life because I stopped going to the gym as consistently and I was only going like 2 to 3 days out of the week. And for me, that's not enough. It's not enough. And so I want to be able to hit the gym 5 days out of the week again. And starting this new year, I have been going to the gym every single day. So it's been nice. It's been nice to finally kind of like lock in and get back into it. But beyond the gym, I also want to explore other avenues of physical activity. So I want to make sure that like this spring, this summer, whenever, I am able to go on walks more often, go on like a hiking trail, go do yoga or hot yoga, find a hot yoga class. That's something I've really been interested in that I think I've only done like once before and that was like years ago. Um but yeah, getting myself out there and finding different ways to kind of express myself physically, if that makes sense. I don't like that. I don't like how it sounds, but just finding different ways to be physically active is my main goal. And so yes, the gym, going out on walks, hot yoga, those things I am going to be looking into this year. The other aspect of my health is mental and emotional health. You can safely assume that 2025 really put a major dent into my mental and emotional health. And so the things that I've learned from that is that this year, going to 2026, I definitely want to set pretty firm boundaries and to take a step back when I'm starting to feel like I'm overextending myself, right? This year, I don't want to entertain, mixed signals, mixed communication. I really don't want to entertain things that aren't meant for me, and that aren't really my problems. And that might sound like a little selfish and a little harsh, but I'm someone who, if someone I love is in a predicament, I want to solve their problems. I want to be the person that fixes everything. And usually I take on their problems as if they were mine. And this is like my friends, my family, whomever. And I found that it robs me of my peace of mind. And I end up overextending myself where I kind of start to lose focus on my own life, my own goals. And so this year, I definitely want to find a good balance between energy and rest. Energy represents kind of like the hustle, the motivation, the discipline to kind of get my responsibilities and my goals accomplished. And then rest is that space to take a step back, to let go, to recenter myself, and really evaluate whether what I'm doing is right for me. That way, I'm able to avoid burnout and I'm not overextending myself and then finding myself lost like I was in 2025. So that's mental and emotional health, really setting boundaries and taking a good step back once I start feeling like I'm overextending myself. The third pillar is work. And for work, I am asking myself, how will I support myself in 2026? And how do I want to go about that? I did end up finding a new job, and it's a step in a different direction in what my career path normally was, but not too much. And I'll explain. Like, I'm still event styling, I'm still event promoting, I'm still doing event stuff, right? But it's a little bit of a different take on the event scene. And I'm honestly really thrilled about it. I'm able to develop new skill sets. I'm able to transfer some of the old skills that I learned, but I'm also able to expand and learn new things that will ultimately equip me for future endeavors. And the way I kind of look at work, the way I look at the question, how do I support myself? I ask myself sub questions, which all have to do with this idea of job direction, right? What direction do I want my employment to take me? Like, what do I want it to serve? Like, beyond just the financial security aspect of it, because we all have bills to pay, I'm asking myself, does my work bring me closer to my end goals? Am I personally fulfilled by what I'm doing? These questions help me align with my end goals of having my own business one day. Um, my end goals of doing something with this channel, just whether I end up event promoting, who knows, via YouTube. Um, who knows? I don't know. But these questions really help me identify my alignment with my end goals. What purpose does my employment serve beyond just financial stability? And it helps identify boundaries with labor to avoid burnout, because I've definitely been in situations in the past where my work would lead me to burnout. I'd be so preoccupied with the things going on at work. I'd be so caught up with all the tasks and picking up additional tasks and helping out my coworkers that I ended up overextending myself. Um, and then I'd come back home and I'd have no energy for my other creative passions, myself, my own life, things that I wanted to accomplish. I didn't have energy for. And so I definitely want to make sure that going to 2026, I have boundaries with labor so I can avoid burnout. Um, and so that kind of leads me into my fourth category, my fourth pillar, which is creation. What I express and what I build creatively. This is like an aspect of my life that I've been cultivating over the past couple of months, and it's sort of like this creative sphere in my life, carving out time to pursue creative passions, having hobbies, exploring things that bring me joy beyond work and beyond responsibilities. And so one of them is YouTube. I want to be more consistent this year with posting videos and having things to talk about, things I want to share, and being able to like actually sit down, make the time to record, edit, and then post, because all that stuff takes time. And so I definitely want to be more consistent with YouTube and be uploading more. Theoretically, my goal would be to have a YouTube video up every week. Um, I haven't been able to do that. The last video I uploaded was like a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. But last year was a crazy time. So hopefully this year I'm able to sit down, make it more consistent, and ultimately make it into a habit so that I am getting into a routine of being consistent and disciplined with YouTube. I also want to explore more hobbies. Like lately, I've been getting back into gaming, which is a little strange. I used to play video games a lot when I was growing up, and then over the past couple of years, since like 2020, 2021, I stopped playing games, and I started to get more like serious about what I want to do with myself, with my life, with professional work, with just kind of creative lifelong goals that I have of my own. And I started to put more of my time into that. And in the process, I kind of forgot just how fun gaming is and how much enjoyment it actually does bring me. And so that's all to say that, creative endeavors have a way of replenishing your soul. They have a way of rejuvenating your mind and your body. So yeah, that's my little tidbit there. But my main goals really for this creation aspect is practicing consistency over perfection. I have had a really rough time making YouTube videos lately because I sit down, I hit record, and I think that like once I start speaking, everything's gonna come out so eloquently that I know exactly what I want to talk about. But that is so far off. I've literally tried recording this same video for like the past 2 days. I was gonna make a New Year's video on the 31st and then one on the 1st, but I kept having false start after false start after false start that I literally was like, I can't. I give up. I'm so frustrated. I I I only talk about the same fucking sentence. And I'm on like on repeat and I can't get past this sentence and it's just like, well, whatever. So I definitely want to focus more on consistency over perfection. And with consistency, I give myself time to really practice and over time really hone in on my voice, the way I present material, just the whole thing, editing, posting, all of that, engagement. Um, and I think the reason why I wasn't able to really post consistently before, or I kept having false starts every single time I made a video, was because I wasn't creating from a place of truth. I think I was trying to perform rather than actually just kind of share what was on my mind, what I was going through, and ultimately what I wanted to share. And so I want to make sure that this year I really focus in on just creating from truth, creating from a place that is authentically me and with all my mannerisms, with all of my, speech peculiarities, whatever. Um, it is what it is, and this is me. So but yeah, and so with that being said, it brings me to my fifth pillar, connection. And this pillar is important to me because I'm asking myself, what will I allow in my life? What am I bringing in? Who am I entertaining? What are the connections I'm making? Whether they be friends, whether it be romantic, whether it be family, like what kind of connections am I encouraging? Am I putting myself into? And the first one is relationships, like romantic relationships. And I think for 2026, those are gone. Okay, I think I'm done with romantic relationships. To be quite honest, I have had my fair share of situationships, which again I personally view as a glorified friends with benefits. I think I've just had a really bad streak with dating that I think I'm kind of done with it. And my sister has always told me that I should just go for someone who is on the same attractiveness level as me. I should go for someone who is less attractive, who is below what I kind of expect myself to be attracted to. And she's even mentioned to play hard to get, because apparently men like a good chase. And I just don't know if I can really do these mind games. Like I'm 28, and I think if someone really likes you, if someone really wants you in their lives, they would work towards that. I don't think you really have to do a whole rabbit chase mind game, play hard to get thing to get someone to want you. If that's the game that you want to play, then fine, but leave me out of it. Like I'm someone who is emotionally mature. I am available to date. I know exactly what it is that I want out of my partner. If you're coming to me with hard to get and emotional inconsistency and uncommitment, I don't want it. I don't want it. Okay, leave me alone. Leave me alone. But I think I have a really bad streak of attracting people that are like that because of the stability that my intentions bring. Um, wanting a committed relationship, being emotionally mature, being available to have a relationship and work on things, and being compassionate and understanding, and actually wanting a relationship. I like, there's stability and strength that gets projected from that place that I think people are just gravitated towards. And unfortunately, I think I just attract the wrong people. Anyway, that's like super long-winded, but that's basically, long story short, I'm not dating in 2026. I think if someone really does want me, they'll come out and say it, okay? If and I'll tell you right now, the person that you have a crush on isn't gonna know until you actually say something, okay? Don't be this whole thing about like I have a crush on them, but they'll never know. It's just kind of like, all right, then you'll never know what comes from that, okay? You'll never know if they like you back, and you'll never know the wonderful experience of being with them. So I'm done. No dating. Relationships are out the window. And when it comes to family and friends, I definitely do want to make sure that they are aligned with who I am as a person, standing in that clarity, standing in that intention, making sure that my friends are supportive, that my friends are compassionate and understanding, and they want me to excel in my goals. They want to support me in my goals. They want to motivate me in my goals. And the same thing goes with my family members. There are times where I've expressed my goals to friends or family or even my partner, and I'd be met with resistance. I'd be met with a lack of encouragement, and that was kind of hard to go through, because like these are things that I'm passionate about sharing. And if you're sharing something that you're passionate about and it's met with like mixed response or a lukewarm response, you yourself end up losing a little bit of that excitement, and you start to wonder like, oh man, like is this not as cool as I thought it was? Is this not as good as I thought it was? Like, I guess this is pretty trash. But the thing is, it's not trash. It's just you're surrounding yourself with the wrong people. And I personally learned that the hard way. So I definitely want to make sure that when it comes to friends and family, that they are supportive of the things that I'm doing, and vice versa, because like I'm a very supportive person myself. If someone wants to do something, I will be their number one cheerleader. I will be the one in their corner being like, that's my girl. Watch out for her because she's coming to the top. All right. She's coming for the fucking top. And, I really do want to surround myself with people like that, because I don't have people like me in my corner. um, And so another thing I kind of want to focus on with connection is community. I want to build a social network that goes beyond my family and friends. Like, I want to go out to more events. Like, I want to go out to places and kind of network. I don't know. I like to frequent Barnes and Nobles a lot. I don't know. I meet people, interesting people there at Barnes and Nobles. I've had people come up to me before and wonder if they've seen me around. And it's always been a pleasant experience, and it's always been quite nice talking to strangers, within reason. Obviously, you don't want to talk to a stranger that you don't feel comfortable with, but at the same time, like, I think it's nice to go out to places and talk to people. Like, we're all human beings, and I think the media ends up popularizing the fact that, other human beings are crazy, unpredictable, wild animals, but it's just kind of like, those are far and few in between, and most people are pretty ordinary and pretty boring. Um, so anyway, I definitely want to go out. I want to talk to more people. I want to socialize, and I want to build a community that's outside of just my friends and family. And a part of that is YouTube. A part of that is, me coming out here, sharing my story, seeing if anyone relates to it. Whenever I'm actually coherent, and yeah, just kind of put myself out there, see who else is out there. There's so many people out there, so many interesting people that have amazing stories and personalities that I'm missing out on, you know, and I don't want to miss out on that anymore, and I'm not going to, not in 2026. Let's see what else I have in here. Um, ah, I already kind of touched upon this a little bit, but on the last page for connection, I have reciprocity, connections that are fulfilling, energy givers, uplifting, encouraging. I already kind of spoke about that. Like, you know, I want to surround myself with people that are going to be supporting, and motivational and aspirational too. Um, and I have like a little caveat that a part of that is having discernment and boundaries. If I start to feel like maybe I'm getting into connections that aren't supportive, that are a little bit of energy vampires, people who are constantly complaining or not really focused on how to improve themselves, rather they just kind of focus on everything that's going wrong. Like, I don't want to be around those sort of people anymore. I just want to surround myself with people that want to take on life's challenges head on, and they want to rise above it, and they want to learn and grow and become better, and ultimately make their lives better as a result of voluntarily facing life's challenges. So yeah, so discernment and boundaries. I don't want to entertain people that don't have that sort of growth mindset, because I don't want to get sucked into kind of a pity party, you know. um and yeah, so those are like my goals for 2026. Those are sort of like the things that I have written down, and my thoughts on them, and how I plan on operating within the sort of five core pillars. I'm hoping that in 2026, with this plan, with consistency and discipline, that I'm in front of the camera more often, talking to you guys, making connections, and growing a community, and, you know, really achieving that goal. So I hope you guys are off to a great 2026. If you haven't thought about a plan yet, or kind of like your own little framework, I highly encourage it. Don't leave it up to some fluffy idea of a resolution with no action plan. Like sit down, write down a few things that you've learned from 2025, some things that you want to work on, and really figure out a way to hold yourself accountable and find a way to track your progress. And, you know, journaling about it is definitely going to help. It's definitely helped me put my thoughts down, and to prioritize them, organize them, and give them a place to live. But yeah, anyway, I need to go and start taking my tree down and all my Christmas decorations. Tomorrow is going to be the 3rd, and we're well into the new year. So I know it's only been like 2, 3 days, but I'm ready, and I'm excited, and I can't wait to see what blessings come my way this year, and the things I'll be able to accomplish. And I really hope that you guys will be by my side as I will be by yours. All right, guys, it's been great chatting with you, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.